first responders who were part of the celebration today, who were out keeping everyone safe and making sure that we had a successful parade and rally. This being the now third rally and parade and rally that I've been a part of in planning for the city of Denver, I can tell you that this is something that the city of Denver does well. It's a huge undertaking, the magnitude of which many cities never experience. But multiple agencies and stakeholders have to be involved. And today's event was no different than the others that we've had, in a sense that it went well for the most part with all the agencies involved. What we're going to do today is have Chief Ron Thomas give you an update on the situation regarding one of our decorated sergeants and officers, Justin Dodge, who was involved in an unfortunate incident as part of the parade today. We also have two of Denver Health's finest physicians who will be able to answer some of the questions. And then, as I know, you already know, unfortunately, we also had a shooting incident. And we never want anything to go wrong with regards to these sort of incidents to occur. Either the officer being injured or, once again, someone or some people deciding to make a very bad decision. This was an event that involved anywhere from 700 to 1 million people today. For the most part, went very well. Toward the end, as Chief Thomas will report, an incident that wounded 2 people, once again involving guns. And here we are again having to talk about someone endangering the lives of people who came to celebrate. I want to thank the 1 million or so people who came out today, who did the right thing and had a great time celebrating our Denver Nuggets and their championship. But rest assured that our Denver Police Department will not rest until we apprehend the individuals who are responsible for today's shootings and unfortunately injured 2 people. Shame on them for once again marring what had been otherwise a pretty successful event for the entire state of Colorado. With that, let me turn it over to Chief Thomas, who will update us on Sergeant Dodge.
Thank you, Mayor, and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for coming. I want to begin by talking about our injured officer. What I understand occurred at approximately 11:30 as a fire truck that was transporting several players was rounding the corner at 13th and Cherokee. We had an officer who was at the passenger side front of that vehicle, of that fire truck. There were people that had kind of made their way into the street, and he was sort of trying to protect those individuals from the fire truck. Had to step kind of closer to the vehicle, and the fire truck began to roll up the back of his left leg, trapping him underneath the vehicle, causing a very significant lower leg injury. We were able to extricate him from underneath the fire truck, load him up in an ambulance, and rush him here to Denver Health Medical, where he is currently undergoing treatment. In fact, he's in surgery right now. And I'll defer to the doctor here to talk more about his medical condition. Approximately an hour after that incident, we had a shooting incident that occurred at 17th and Curtis. This is well after the parade and after the festivities in Civic Center Park. I understand that there were people that were leaving from the downtown area when this incident occurred, and we had a black male firing a weapon, striking 2 individuals. We believe that this was a targeted incident. Those 2 males were located by responding officers and transported by ambulance here to Denver Health, where they are in serious condition but also receiving treatment here. We believe that this was completely unassociated to the parade and the subsequent events. Again, as the mayor alluded to, individuals armed with weapons acting irresponsibly in our community. So at this time, I'll defer to the doctor to talk more about the condition of our officer. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Thomas. My name is Stephen Wolf. I'm the Director of Emergency Medicine here at Denver Health. Around 11:45, we did have an officer transported to the emergency department emergently. He presented. He was received by a robust trauma team. And as of this time, he is in stable condition. He does have a severe limb-threatening injury. He was taken to the operating room by our world-class orthopedic team, and after being cleared by our trauma team. So there were 2 other individuals who were brought separately for gunshot wounds. Both of them are in serious condition, and we don't have extensive information about the background of the story of those individuals.
Why don't we go ahead and open up for any questions? I think we can take a couple. Sure, please, Dr. Wolf.
So I think as of right now, we can't say necessarily what the outcome will be, but I can guarantee you that our orthopedic services will do everything possible to preserve the limb.
The quick answer is that yes, downtown Denver is still a safe place to come. Unfortunately, we have, again, far too many guns in our society, far too many individuals that act irresponsibly with guns, and that's certainly something that we as a community need to continue to address. We continue to take measures to keep the downtown area safe. We have a significant contingent of officers that are deployed in our downtown core, particularly on the weekends during the entertainment hours. And so we believe that we can keep the area safe. We believe that we will continue to keep people that come downtown to live and play in our downtown area. And again, as a community, we need to continue to do things to remove guns from our street and keep them out of the hands of folks that act irresponsibly.
Let me add something to that, Chief. Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, I think this just speaks to the fact that individuals now in our community are emboldened to act in an irresponsible way, regardless of who's watching. I think that's a significant concern. I think we should all be worried about that. Certainly, we always have our head on a swivel, and so we are aware of the fact that these things can certainly happen despite our presence. We hope that our presence creates safety. We certainly want to keep our eyes open and pay particular attention to concerning behaviors and things like that, so that we can take guns off of people before they have the opportunity to use them. I can tell you that we have recovered nearly hundreds of guns in the downtown core, specifically off of individuals that may have had the opportunity to use them had we not taken them off their hands. Yes, so he is a veteran officer. He's a sergeant assigned to our SWAT division. He's been a member of our SWAT team for a number of years. Very decorated officer. I can't really. I think that, I tend to believe that surety of consequences tends to discourage folks from acting irresponsibly. And so that's something that we certainly need to address with our criminal justice system.
So when you say you recovered hundreds of weapons in
Yes.
quantify how many of those were possessed legally?
I would say the majority of them were illegally possessed, either possessed by someone who is prohibited from possessing a weapon, a juvenile, someone who is intoxicated in possession of that weapon. So the large majority of those weapons were taken and seized as evidence in a crime. Yes, fair question. So, we think that we had a pretty significant plan. I think that there were reinforcements to keep folks out of the street, significant fencing. We had officers throughout the parade route. We had officers that were following all of the vehicles that the players were on. And obviously they were able to overcome that. And really the only safety challenge that we faced at that point was, the injury that happened to the officer as he was protecting, these community members from the fire trucks. Well, certainly, but I mean, I think the officer was doing his job, protecting the public, and unfortunately was injured.
And Chief, you mentioned that Sergeant John was at the truck. Had he been with that fire truck the entire time marching with that truck, or was he just at that point?
No, he was following that truck. There was a pretty significant contingent of officers that was following that fire truck because, again, it had several players that were on that truck.
I don't want you to take it a step further than prove it. Do you feel he saved anybody else from injury at that point?
Well, I think a lot of that is speculative, but certainly there was a potential for folks to run out in front of the fire truck, get caught up underneath the wheel of the fire truck as he did. And so I think that him being placed where he was did prevent the likelihood of someone being injured. I'm sorry. I could tell you, yeah.
No, it doesn't require executive order. I agree with Chief Thomas that we're not new to these plans. This is, you might see a few people who might penetrate the barriers, but for the most part, people were safe. And I was in the parade. I saw people who were on the wrong side of the barriers, but for the most part, they were hugging up against the barriers. They weren't getting into the street. I was not at this location when the incident occurred, so I don't know what happened. So I can't speak to it, but I can tell you that the plans that are laid by the Denver Police Department in partnership with the other agencies, Department of Transportation, Infrastructure, and others, it was a pretty good plan. And we have done this parade now 3 times in the last 12 years, or at least in the last 8 years, and we've not seen this type of challenge before. Let me, while I have the mic, just go back to Sean's question, because I think it's important for us to address this situation. This is not about downtown. If you look at what's occurred here in the last 72 hours in the metro region, where we've had shootings, road rage in Aurora, road rage on I-25, where you see what happened with the 2 gatherings, the large gathering after the Nuggets won the championship on Monday, and then again today. This really is about young people getting their hands on guns. These are young people who they're 19 and 22 and 25, whose lives, if they're not ended by the gunshot, they're ruined and ended because they're going to spend the rest of their lives in jail. And if you want to know why people are emboldened, there is a very prolific fentanyl and drug trade happening all over this country, and we have not been immune to it. So join with us in being honest about what's happening here, that we got to look and understand that our young people are getting their hands on guns. They don't know how to solve crises or challenges by having a conversation. They're shooting at one another, and it makes absolutely no sense. And unfortunately, as Chief Thomas pointed out, this may have been a very targeted situation as part of a drug trade, not only on Monday, but today. And it's making everyone else unsafe, including the 200 officers who were there on patrol on Monday as well as today. So we need to just be honest. This is not about downtown. It will be a mistake for us to talk about it being an unsafe downtown. Denver downtown is no more unsafe than it is in any other neighborhood in the city or in Aurora or Commerce City for that matter.
So we will certainly look into all of those incidents. We did make 2 arrests during the parade. One individual we contacted had a weapon. Another individual was involved in a disturbance and had a warrant, and so he was taken to jail. So those are 2 arrests that were made specifically associated to the parade. We do have a number of cameras that were along the parade route and in the area of Civic Center Park, and so certainly we will be combing through that to see if we can identify anyone who may have thrown a beer can and struck someone.
Is there a chance that the people who were going towards the fire truck where the sergeant was injured, that they could be charged with it?
You know, I don't think that would be appropriate to do. The officer was obviously doing his job protecting the public. It's unfortunate that he sustained an injury, but I don't think that it would be fair or reasonable to blame these individuals who are just, trying to celebrate a Nuggets win.
And Chief, will your PIOs be sending out a picture of the sergeant that we could use in our reporting this afternoon?
We can do that. You're welcome.
Could you just briefly update us on the investigation into that shooting? I know that you said it looked like a targeted shooting. Do you have any idea what kind of
So we've obviously identified the two individuals that are here at the hospital. We have a photograph, so a lot of cameras in the area where this occurred, so we actually do have a photograph of the suspect. They're unidentified at this point and certainly not in custody, but we're confident, I think, in our investigative ability to ultimately identify that person and bring that person to justice. I'll have to talk to my PO team about that, so thank you. The officer's injury, or the no, I don't think that it was a scooter-related incident. I think that there was an acquaintance that involving the three individuals that were involved in the shooting.
Chief, are you guys looking at how events like this are handled in the future? I know the mayor has said that it went pretty well, but will you look at this perhaps some of the safety strategies will be amended in the future?
We're a learning organization, so certainly we will look at this particular parade just as we looked at the parade that occurred when the Avalanche won. And we will continue to meet with our local partners as well as other jurisdictions across the country to look at how to better prepare for these types of celebrations.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.